Hello and welcome to Top Story. At the stroke of midnight tonight, the European Union takes another extraordinary step towards ending the divisions that once fragmented the continent. After 2 years of preparation, 9 countries are to join the 15 states that are already part of the Schengen Treaty of 1985. The Czech Republic, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Malta, Poland, Slovakia and Slovenia will become part of a free movement zone that will stretch from the Atlantic shores of Portugal to the Russian frontier. As of March, citizens of these countries will no longer have to show travel documents when crossing borders within the Schengen area. Britain and Ireland are the only members of the European Union who have opted out of the agreement. Well, joining me now to discuss the implications of the expansion of the Schengen zone is Pascal Joannin, Director of the Robert Schuman Foundation, an organisation which provides support for the new democracies of Europe. Thanks very much for being on Top Story. It is an extraordinary development when you think about it, that after centuries of squabbling over borders, how all these peoples of Europe, 400 million people have agreed for the borders to dissolve, to disappear altogether.
Yes, it is a big event. It is the end of a European division coming from the Second World War. It is the end of borders, you know, for the authoritarian former country who came from the Soviet part of the former Soviet Union part. It is the end of the borders. So it is an open space. We can travel easily. The people can never show documents for going inside. Of course, it is the end of this division of Europe. You spoke about Ireland and UK, who are not in the Schengen area, but in the same times they have welcomed the most part of the citizens of the former Eastern countries, and they have the most part of the Polish or people coming from this area. So they are not inside, but they have a lot of people coming from these countries.
There are lots of concerns, though, about what the possible effects will be. The German police, for instance, have been protesting about the loss of the borders, which they regard as a very useful instrument for controlling things like the movement of immigration and drugs and that sort of thing. Is it a serious concern, do you think? Should they be worried?
No, because this country is the new one who have external borders. Because, of course, the external borders have to be very strong to protect the people from the crime, organized crime, or the illegal immigration, of course. But this country, these new countries who are in the borders with Russia, Ukraine, or Belarus, etc., have made a lot of efforts to modernize and to improve their control of borders, to make the visa and administration of the visa secure, and of course cooperation with the police and justice. And for the German or for the French or for the older member states, it is not a problem, because at the same time we open the space, and at the same time we want to strengthen both the fight against illegal immigration, and there will be maybe in next year an initiative, maybe by France and other countries, to fight against illegal immigration. And these countries have made a lot of efforts to make the administration of the external borders sure. And at the same time, we want to make more strong cooperation, you know, Europol, Eurojust, so the cooperation between justice and police of the member states are on the way to go forward in the next years.
It is going to be a big challenge, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is a big challenge, because as you may know, Europe is very attractive because it is a rich country, etc. So people coming from the east, of course, there is traffic coming from the east, but for the actuality, the south of the immigration are coming to the all member states, France, Italy, or Spain. It is the same at the south borders or the east border. The challenge is the same, not to make a protection. You can't entering the union, of course. It is not. You have to create a new wall. We have shut down the Berlin Wall, so we are not to create a new one, but just to make this area sure that the people who live in can easily travel and have no problems, and the illegal immigration has to be condemned and to be fight, not to be a problem for the future.
What about the fears of people living in Western Europe that this is going to lead to a flood of people coming from Eastern Europe? I was just reading the French papers today. You know, we're opening our borders to 75 million East Europeans.
Yes,
is that irrational?
No, it is the extreme right parties or the non-European parties who put this argument before, but it is not serious because, as I just said, UK and Ireland are not in the Schengen, and they are welcome. One of the most important communities of people coming from these countries of the eastern part of Europe. So it is normal, you know, and by the way, this population is coming to the West immediately when the wall will go down, and at the beginning of the 90s, when it was the open of a possibility of going outside. For the moment, their country are making more and more efforts to improve the legislation, so they have to be in. So there is no risk of Romania or Bulgarian invasion. The Bulgarian who want to go out the country go out in the 90s, not now.
There is a big disparity in wealth. For instance, take Germany and Poland.
Yes.
Germany very wealthy, Poland getting wealthier but still relatively poor. There's a real fear in Germany that could lead to development of crime and that sort of thing.
Yes, but at the same time, and the inner minister, the home minister of Germany has made a lot of propositions on the table to discuss with the 26 other member states to improve the cooperation to fight against terrorism, to fight against illegal immigration, to fight against organized crime. Because you may know the problem today is not the problem of the circulation of the citizens. It is just them who can't go in the trouble, because the organized crime can control the borders, come and go out, come here, etc. So it is not a problem for the traffickers if they can pass through the borders easily. It is the citizens who are blocked, and in their mind they say, okay, I'm not in the European Union, so within the integration of the Schengen zone, they can go easily, and it is for a part the sentiment, the feeling of the European identity.
Point, I'm going to have to stop you, I'm afraid. We've run out of time. Thanks to our guest today, Pascal Joannin. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Top Story. Goodbye.